I've been running Google Ads for over 7 years now, and after spending over $100 million on the platform across countless different niches, industries, and even campaign placements, I've come to realize how the platform truly works. And what I'm about to cover in this video will actually leave you shocked. Now, before I actually go into the details of how the platform actually works, what you should be doing with your own brand when it comes to Google Ads, I want to go back a bit in time to kind of explain my overall journey with Google Ads and how I saw Google progress as a platform as a whole. Now, for the OG followers, you know that I started with my own e-commerce brand back in 2017, 2018. That's when I initially found my first success, scaling to over 6 figures per month in revenue with my brands alone, using a little bit of Facebook ads and Google ads. But flash forward about 2 years, 2019, 2020, when I got completely suspended from Meta ads, I moved on to Google Ads fully, and ever since then, I've just been focused on Google Ads. Now, back during that time, there was very limited information available on the perfect Google ad strategies. And I truly believe I'm one of the first YouTubers when it comes to Google Ads, teaching the audience and the e-commerce brand owners how to run with Google Ads. Because back then, when I started, there was literally barely any information on even YouTube available on how to run proper Google ad strategies. But the beauty about Google Ads during that time was Google was an extremely simple platform. There was very little inputs and outputs you had to put in to get back returns. I mean, I was just launching basically random strategies with random products that I didn't even put too much of an effort into, and I was literally making 5 and 6 figures in revenue very, very profitably. 7x, 10x, 15x return on ad spend was the normal back then. But as of course, time started to go on, more and more people started to become educated about Google Ads. There started to be more competition, especially in the drop shipping space, but also in general. And flash forward to 2019, 2020, 2021, when Google Ads started to really become a little bit of a headache. Now, I say headache because during that time is when Facebook ads started to really go down with their ban hammer, started banning a lot of good brands for unnecessary reasons, and just started going crazy with the policy restrictions. And Google followed suit during that time, unfortunately. So what that meant was Google was no longer an easy platform. It was becoming more difficult to sustain profits and to let alone even find working strategies. This is when I was really initially started my Google Ads agency as well, started working with other brands, handling their Google Ads accounts for them, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google. Go to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But this is the exact time, 2021, 2022, is when a lot of the brand owners started to drop off from Google. Their accounts started getting suspended. Their results dropped off the cliff, going from 9x, 10x ROAS to barely 2x ROAS or 3x ROAS, barely breaking even. And no matter what strategies they were implementing, nothing seemed to be working. And this was, in my opinion, actually a very good thing that happened, because this took away a lot of the trash, took away a lot of the bad e-commerce brand owners who were really not in the game for the long term. They were in for some quick money, or they just wanted to just go in and go out with their brand, just sell their brand completely. But during this time, what I realized is those brands which are actually adapting to the new algorithm, those brands that are actually now focusing on the quality of their products plus service versus just the volume of their bids and budgets, these are the brands that are actually starting to stand out. This change came into effect around 2021 and 2022. But of course, with this new change, with this heavy focus now on the actual quality, this brought along its own problems. Some of the biggest problems that I saw that started to happen with the e-commerce spaces, brands now started blaming the algorithm for slowing revenue. And I'm talking about big brands, multi-7, 8, 9 figure brands, literally blaming the algorithm that their revenue is starting to drop. Their ad spend is not at the level it was before. And as a result, their campaigns just don't seem to be working. In addition, what I really started to see happen during this time is a lot of these brands, including my own competitors, started price wars with their products. So if I had a product, for example, example, selling for $50, they would sell it for $49.95. Then I would bring it down to $48, then they would bring it down to $45, so on and so forth. These price wars became a common thing from 2021, 2022, when Google became very strict, when the real brand owners basically were the only ones that were within the market. And that's because these brand owners did not know any other way to get the algorithm on their side. They believed that just having the lowest price is what will automatically start scaling their brand once again. And this also led to many of these brands, which still to this day do this mistake, which is they started offering crazy offers and promotions, 40% off, 50% off, evergreen offers. Even if they're not true, they still started to put these offers in place in the Google Merchant Center, on the landing pages, etc. But what I soon started to realize, as even time went on after this and coming to the present moment, is none of this really matters. What you want to understand with the Google Ads platform is the fundamentals, even from the beginning, have never really changed. Now, don't get me wrong, it was much easier to get a lot of success back in the day when it was just barely any competition, the bids were low, everybody was just having the time of their lives, just scaling and scaling constantly. But despite having these new competitors come in, despite just a new market in place, what I've realized is the fundamentals have stayed the same. Google still prefers brands that take care of their customers. Google still prefers brands which provide a lot of information for their product feed and which go above and beyond with all of the necessary information required on that end. The good brands are still getting rewarded. And most important of all, the brands which have a simplistic approach, which aren't going too crazy with the big random strategies, they're the ones winning. The days of just launching a bunch of stuff are gone. You need to be strategic with what you're launching. If you launch a bunch of random things, more likely than not, your brand will not scale, and Google will actually penalize you for overlapping your products, overlapping your keywords and whatnot, because that causes internal competition, which you want to avoid at all costs. But what I have understood along with this is too much activity with Google Ads. It's like you splashing around in the water while you're trying to swim, but you're not going anywhere. You're in the same location as you were always, and you're just not moving forward, backward, left, right. You're not going anywhere at all. This is the equivalent of you launching a bunch of campaigns within your Google Ads strategy. So from 2017 until now, if I had to give you some recommendations on what you should be doing, how Google works now, it's keep things simple. Focus on the products, focus on the service, and make sure your entire funnel from the landing page to the back end to what you provide on the Google shopping listings, the product feed itself, search ads and whatnot, all of your things are in unity. They are basically not too different from each other. They're all relevant to each other, because relevancy is one of the biggest factors which scales your campaigns. Now, if you run a brand doing over 50K per month or more, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.